right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the last point in our agenda. So first we will view a few-minute video, and then we'll connect via conference call with Christopher Sandberg, who is a CEO and Chief Creative Officer at the company P and the Emmy Award winner. And Christopher will tell you about the techniques he uses to engage his audience in creating an interactive drama script. And he will present a few case studies of cross-media projects, such as the Spiral series. So let's watch the film first, and then we'll connect to Christopher.
I'll be there till the end of May, 'cause I'll be there till the end of May. I'll be there till the end of May, and I'll be there till the end of May. Sleep with one of the autonomous. Wake up, indeed, you're wasting time. Better face up, now somebody draws a line. You will surely lose your temper, lose your mind. If you choose to walk, then walk and stay behind. I'll be there till the end of May, and I'll be there till the end of May, and I'll be there till the end of May.
The Swedish public service television company SVT created an interactive drama that gave the nation a new concept: participation drama. An unsolved mystery was in the hands of the participants who, with the aid of established internet services such as search engines, Java programs, forums, online games, GPS, and chat rooms, could piece together a solution. This is participation drama, fiction without limits. But let's start from the beginning with Marika's story.
His new wife, Marika, disappears without a trace. But Marika's best friend is convinced that she has joined a secret society and is now living outside the system. What is her husband supposed to think? Could there be a parallel world out there? A reality he isn't aware of? Exactly what is the truth about Marika? Right before the drama series premieres on TV, a conflict erupts. A young woman accuses SVT of using her story about her desperate search for a missing friend without being authorized to do so. The woman claims that SVT has stolen the story from her blog. More and more people join forces with her and visit her site, conspirare.se. They work together to obtain evidence that will reveal that the TV show is based on a true story and that Marika's disappearance is due to a conspiracy. The uproar in connection with Marika's story forces SVT to publicly deal with the charges. In a live TV debate broadcast after the first episode of the drama series, the young woman meets the producer of the series. The producer dismisses her accusations, stating that her version was fabricated after the fact. The woman insists that Marika's identity has been removed from all public records, that the state-run public service television company is in on the conspiracy. In order to refute the accusations made on conspirare.se, SVT creates a website of their own. With the assistance of the viewers, the website editor-in-chief tries to answer the many questions that arise.
Sure, some may find his work amusing, even thought-provoking.
Media have done what everyone should as in people who do work, their own work.
But over the last 15 years, he has cost sanitation departments and museums around the EU more than 26 million euros. It's been an embarrassment for Europol and local law enforcement for years now.
6 pieces of art. 6 museums. 6 countries. And we're going to steal them.
The big question is, what's next? I'm in.
Cloud detectors.
You're asking me to just give up myself.
The deal's changed now, though.
I'm a cop, not an artist.
There's been some robberies.
What they did.
6, all within the last hour, all tagged with a spiral.
The website, the spiral.eu, just went live.
Hi, Christopher. Hi, Christopher. Can you hear us?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Great to have you. So tell us and tell the audience what was that on the screen? What we've really seen? Is it a movie or a game or what?
Well, it's maybe the best way to describe it is a participatory drama. So it's a drama series that the audience is invited to join in on. And in a way, it's a game. We use game mechanics to activate the audience and have them engage in different parts of the story. But in another way, it's a television series. So basically what we do is we use all the different technologies that are available to us to tell our story. And if it's a Twitter feed or a YouTube video or a Facebook page, that doesn't really matter. The 2 examples that you saw, Conspiracy for Good, I'm sorry, The Truth About Marika and The Spiral, were both TV series, primetime TV series, which had all this participation around it.
So basically you took the existing TV show and interactivated it, correct?
Well, no, actually we wrote the entire thing for participation from day one. So in the case of The Truth About Marika, which was aired in 2007, we sat down and wrote the whole script together with the writer. So it was Swedish Television and the company P who developed the show. So there wasn't a script or a show to start with. There was just this idea of creating a participatory drama. And then we wrote the series while we also designed the game and the social media and so on. This was very early, so it was almost before Facebook. And we had to code. There wasn't any app store or anything like that, so we had to code all the mobile technology ourselves and so on. Now for The Spiral, which is a newer show, it's airing right now in 10 territories. We had the opportunity, of course, of using Facebook and Twitter and mobile applications were much more easily available. But it's not, we don't build a thing around the show. We create the show and the audience involvement at the same time. I think that's an important point, because if you slap on a game or a mobile application or a social media thing after you've already written the entire script, the audience is going to feel cheated. They're going to know that it's a marketing stunt that you just added on. They're not going to feel that like they're important to the story.
You've mentioned that The Truth About Marika was in pre-Facebook times, and no one can imagine that, I suppose. But okay, so which project was easier for realization, The Truth About Marika or The Spiral, which is post-Facebook or during Facebook?
I think they were both very complicated and difficult to do in their own way. The Truth About Marika was very difficult because it was so early. There wasn't any standard for cell phone applications. We had to do it ourselves. There wasn't any standard for how to reach people, like I said, and so on. But on the other hand, it was just one country. It was Swedish television, and we did one show for one country, and then we did a series of live action events and games and so on in Sweden. It spilled out to more than Sweden because the participants sort of traveled over the borders and so on, and also because we put a lot of content, like clues in the story, inside a massively multi-user game, Entropia. So it became an international sort of story in the end, but to begin with, it was one nation. And the Spiral project, it's much easier in the sense that we have so much available now in social media and so on. But on the other hand, it was shot for 10 territories. So it was, a lot of different television broadcasters were involved. A lot of heads of drama that you had to sort of please. I think it's important for me to say, though, that when it comes to the Spiral, I created a format together with my partners and built the whole sort of project up. But then it was produced by a production company in Belgium. So the last year of the production, I wasn't involved that much. Anyway, just a detail.
Okay. Jeżeli będziecie mieli jakieś pytania, to myślę, że będzie za chwilę moment już na zadawanie, więc przygotujcie się. I'll just ask them to prepare questions for you, because we've got the opportunity really to learn more details about participation drama projects. And my last question would be, in terms of creative approach and then post-production and production, the development, because we are talking about technology which is behind the project, and some engines, websites, etc. What's the biggest challenge of those two? So the creative side or the technological one?
For many years, there has actually been a third thing that's been the most difficult, and that has been the production side of it. Finding financing, finding partners, negotiating deals, and so on. It's a long journey for the public and private companies, the broadcasters, to figure out how to deal with new media. I mean, they have so much experience in doing linear storytelling, normal video basically, that they broadcast. But now they suddenly have to figure out how to do webcast video and mobisodes and all that stuff. So that has been very difficult. But then when you compare the technology and the creative, I would say that the creative is the most difficult part. Of course, technology can be incredibly advanced and difficult to do, but there's always a company that you can hire, or you can hire expertise in-house if you want. And there's a lot of technology that is out there. Like now we have a video dialogue, and I don't have to code that. When we did doll play for Joss Whedon and Dollhouse show with 20th Century Fox, we coded our own video dialogue. We used existing technologies, but we mashed them up and coded it. Of course, now you can use Skype if you want to. So the technology can be really advanced, but there is so much available. However, when it comes to the creative, that's so new that there's not very many people who know how to write for a participating audience. The traditional drama writer doesn't know how to do that. And also, it's a very interdisciplinary thing, combining participation, games, and television drama. And that's a really big challenge. I've had very long conversations with different showrunners and producers and directors to come, to make sure we have one voice and it's not scattered into different projects within the project.
So despite many possibilities on technological side, it's still about the idea and creativity, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can, if you look at the Spiral, for instance, it is very successful, but it also has some challenges. And I think most of those challenges come from the fact that you really need to get the audience to connect to the story first. And if you can't make that happen, they're not going to, join just because you throw a lot of technology at them. So absolutely, it's about the story, about the character, about the sort of emotional through line. If it's a love story or a thriller, you have to fall in love or feel the fear of the main characters, otherwise you're not going to care. So definitely, it's the creative is at the heart, which of course can be technology driven, like if you have a technology that allows people to do something. For instance, we worked with Nokia on a project where they allowed us to use the phone to point at anything in like a statue, and then it would trigger video, like you could do with a little barcode. But in this case, we could point at anything. And that technology triggered a new type of storytelling where we could hide stories in statues and objects in the city. But it's always about, creating an emotional connection with the audience.
Okay, and you've mentioned Nokia. And connecting this to your previous thought about the biggest problem, which is financing. We've got branded content in mind. So the question is, are brands helping or giving a helpful hand to do such a project, complete the budget and to close the budget? Is it easier to do the branded content project or rather the typical one?
Brands are really interested, especially if you have a very smart idea. So absolutely, you can do branded content. You have to remember though that imagine if the entire film industry was just commercials. That would be very sad. Commercials can be very creative and beautiful, but they're still have an agenda that is outside the creative work. So, I totally think that as a creative, as a producer or writer or director or whatever, you have to make sure that you have your creative integrity. And if you can let in the brands while keeping that integrity, it's a really good way to do it. If you can't, then, maybe it's a way to get quick projects, but not the right projects.
Okay, thank you. So, guys, any questions?
Just one thing before that. I said that I have a time that I need to leave, but let's continue until they, pull me out of here. So, we'll talk until I have to leave.
Hi, it's good to see you. I'm curious how the work on the script looked like, because the script was obviously a base probably for the project, but the script writers must have been working with the people who created the idea of participation project. Can you tell me how it looked like? Was this one script or?
No, well, it depends on different projects. It's not necessarily one script.
I was interested in Marika project.
Okay, so in the Marika project, we had a shared writer's room that worked on the different aspects of the storytelling. So there was a script writer for television, and then there was a game designer for games. There was like a live action designer for the live action role play parts, and so on. And they all had this conversation together. And in the end, there was one script for television, which had in it a lot of triggers for what would happen in the game. If you have an episode that ends with a cliffhanger, that's traditional script writing. In this case, we could have those cliffhangers be invitations to the audience. So they would, instead of wait for the next episode, they would actually go out and solve whatever that cliffhanger problem was. And in the truth about Marika, we had a very smart idea, because we realized that it's very difficult to write for the audience engaging. The audience can do many different things, and suddenly you have to write multiple scenes. Let's say they walk that way instead of that way, so you have to have, double scenes. And that's very difficult to produce. So what we did was, the drama series is 1 hour, and 45 minutes of the drama series was about happened 2 years ago. So it was like a cold case dramatization of how Marika went missing. And then 15 minutes of the drama was a fake studio debate that showed what's going on right now, what people were looking for. So we had two scripts, one that was about what happened 2 years ago when Marika went missing, and then one that was about the search for her today. And because the search for her today could change very much, we didn't know what the audience would do, and they could do whatever they wanted. The sort of studio debate script was very open, so we could, we pull in someone, in the middle of the broadcast, basically. And the first 45 minutes, the scripted sort of linear story, that was shot in advance and post-produced like a normal TV series, whereas the studio debate was actually shot the day before it was aired in a live studio debate setting with, robotic cameras and so on. So we could pull in people and put in content from what the audience did. Because we got user-generated video where they were documenting what they did in different missions and so on, and clues and so forth. And we put that in sort of reportage edited segment of the studio debate. So in the end, the whole full-hour drama was 2/3 scripted with small donut holes with clues hidden in the show and so on. And then 15 minutes of almost live capturing what people did as the show was airing.
Okay, thank you for answering. It's really engaging, and I wish I could participate. So, tack så mycket.
Varsågod. By the way, an update. I just heard that my other meeting is a little late, so we can probably continue for a bit more if we want to. I don't want to keep you, but if you want to have more questions, I can stay till maybe 1:15.
So, another questions? Be brave.
Otherwise, I can just talk.
We've got one, and the second one. Was it the third one?
Do people believed in this Marika conspiracy? And what happened with their beliefs when this fiction was over? Were they frustrated, or they still believe that it's true?
If you work for a big public service company, you have to have a logo that says this is done by SVT Drama, and the same thing for webpage. You have to have a disclaimer that says this is fiction. So we did that, but we phrased those disclaimers and so on so that people could think that maybe it's true after all. And what happened was, because there's a PhD study that was made on the project that says, that covered a lot of the reactions from the audience. And what it sort of could find out was that a large portion of the people thought this was real, even after we told them it's not real. And what we did was, because typically when you do like an alternate reality game or those kind of viral video things, you want to fool people that it's real. And we wanted to change that because we knew that the audience would try to pick it apart. If you tell them this is real, they're going to try to prove that it's fake. So what we did was we told it was fake, and then the audience started to think that we were lying. It's kind of like if the government says there's nothing to see here, nothing, walk on, then you're going to think that you're hiding something. So when we started to say this is all fake, this is not real, and we started to bake in real content, people began to think that we were lying, that we were hiding something, that it was in fact actually real. And in the end, it was something like 20% that thought it was real. And to the second part of the question, if they were upset when they realized it was fake. It's kind of like a surprise party. If you tell someone that you're going to have a surprise party, they're not going to be that surprised. So it's the same thing. You want to sort of lie to them, but in a nice way. So when when the surprise comes, they're happy about it. And the truth about Marika was designed to give people tools, especially young people in the young audience, to give them tools to take control over their own life. Like, what is good in your life? What is bad in your life? How can you solve that? And how can you move on to where you want to be? So in the end, it didn't really matter if it was fake or real. The important thing was that it actually, for real, gave them things that changed their lives. So they were missions in the city, like protesting and putting out flyers and so on. And that was real. I mean, they did that for real, even though it was part of a story. And those actions gave them a lot of inspiration and changed them. And that was the really important.
Okay. And the second question? Oh.
Hello. I wanted to ask, you said that Marika project was done before Facebook, and I wanted to know what kind of tools did you use to take people inside the story? What was the strategy?
How do I explain that? So what we did was we worked with a lot of physical things. We put up these, barcodes, the checkered little symbols that you point your phone at and it gives you information. Back then that wasn't people hadn't really seen them that much, so it was like a new and kind of magical thing. And we put those up all over Sweden, and we had, big banners on music festivals and things like about this project. And then we leaked through a web page an app that allowed you to read them. And we also sort of put out online similar symbols, but digital symbols. And when you click those, you can embed them in your web page. And when you click those, that would lead to the central web page. And what people did, because they were sort of having a dialogue with a secret society that they thought had kidnapped Marika, and the only way to communicate with them was through these symbols. So they were forced to put them up to communicate with Marika's secret society, the ones that are kidnapped. So what they did was they put these up on their own blogs and on their own web pages, and that made it spread all over. So basically the story driver, these symbols that made them communicate in the story, was also the marketing stuff. And it was all over Sweden, at music festivals and in stores everywhere, and all over online. So for a while, our webpage was the third largest political blog in Sweden, although it was a fake blog, just because so many people pointed. So those kind of ways we did to spread the story.
Okay, thanks.
Another question?
Actually, I have one more question, if I can ask.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about, ending the transmedia project. I mean, how Marika ended, how it was finished, and what do you think about how to finish the transmedia project?
If I understand you correctly, sort of what you do at the very end of it, after the sort of normal story.
Yes. When you build this community and they are in and they're involved, and how to end it up.
It's really a very good question. It's really important because, as you say, you built this community and you don't want to just leave them hanging and sort of wondering what happens now. And especially in The Truth About Marika, which was so much about making people change their lives, you wanted that dialogue to continue. And there was this message in The Truth About Marika, which was about the others, this secret group that had kidnapped Marika. And the message of the show was basically that there are no others. You can't just hope for someone else to change your life. You have to be the others in your own life. You have to be the secret society. If there is no secret society, you have to create it yourself. You have to be the hero of your own life, basically. And in the end, the community, all the people that was on the community and had different handles, their name or fake names on the forum, they all changed their names to the others, or I am one of the others, or something like that, to show that we're part of this. They've started, if there was a secret society in the beginning of this, they started it now. So what they did, the story is about Marika, who decides that her life is too much caged. She lives a boring life and just becomes like a doll in a porcelain museum. Her life is meaningless. So she runs away and starts to create the story of the other, following myth her mother put in a fairy tale. And she decides, I'm going to create this sort of breadcrumb trail for anybody to follow me. And that the audience follows her footsteps, basically, as she's sort of creating order, the secret society. And in the end, if you go through all the missions, you can meet her, and she says, "I'm going to show up." If she doesn't say you are the others, but she says, "If you solve my riddle, I will show myself to you." And the final event, the audience sort of figured out and made this big sort of signpost that says, "I am the other, we are the others." And they wrapped it around the TV house because the story was, that Swedish television was using her story to create a show when it called this meant sort of fun, twisted story. So they made this rally outside the TV house. The day shooting the final live studio, so we filmed it and so on. And then Marika showed up, and then she invited people to come on board. She arrived at the dock, because this is the harbor of Gotland in Sweden, and she arrived at the boat, and she said, come along, jump on the boat and go away with me. I won't let you where you sail, go somewhere, and to this life that we can create together. And, people didn't know where the boat would go and how long they would be on the boat and so on. But a few people, it was maybe 30 people on the dock, and I don't know, 10 or 20 people prepared to come on board the boat. And so they came on the boat, and we sailed away. It was like an old ferry boat, and they came aboard, and there he told the story about what happened to her, what she wanted to do, and then we said, okay, guys, now the story is over. Our part of this is over. The drama is over. The game is over. Now it's up to you. And then we sailed around for a long time with people on the boat, and we did debrief that you sort of talk about, and we talked for a long time. And then some of them invited us to after parties. We stayed with these people the entire night and talked and talked. And then afterwards on the forum, continued to. So, in a way, we really want to have that after party. And if it's a bigger problem, then you can't have all of them both sail away.
Christopher, sorry to interrupt, but we are experiencing some connection problems, and it's really, I don't know, something is on the line. Maybe because our time is running out and you will have your next task, we can always do a traditional connection via email or so to go through this last topic, because it's really interesting, especially from the point of collecting audience for several months and then what's going on when the project is finished. So maybe we'll leave it for the future communication.
You're most welcome to email me, or if you put up a forum or something, I'd be happy to answer questions.
Yeah, and we will help to get contact details to Christopher, no problem. Okay? So thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you here in Łódź. Have you online, but it was great. And again, thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad it worked out in the end. Okay, take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
To dziękuję wszystkim. W ten sposób szczęśliwie dobrnęliśmy do końca merytorycznego dnia pierwszego. Chwila przerwy, odświeżenie i zapraszamy wszystkich do klubu Spinka na Piotrkowskiej na godzinę 20, aby kontynuować ten mile rozpoczęty dzień. Zapraszam.